Well, new real estate laws have begun with the new year, and understanding these is just one way you can go about avoiding foreclosure, or at least ease the pain of it. Donald Wolfe is from the Wolfe Group of Attorneys. He's here this morning with more on it. Good morning to you.
Hey, good morning.
First off, just this week kicks in the Homeowners Bill of Rights for the state of California. What's that all about?
That's correct. It's important because what it does is it allows homeowners a few other options that they didn't have in the past. Most importantly, what it does is it prevents something called dual tracking. Dual tracking means that if the lender is working with you during a modification, they're unable to initiate or proceed with the foreclosure process at the same time.
That hasn't always been the case.
It hasn't always been the case. Yeah. What's happened in the past is you're working with the lender, you think everything's going well, everything's fine.
Boom.
Boom, you get a surprise with a foreclosure. Not a fun thing.
Okay, so that can't happen anymore.
That can't happen.
Okay. A couple of other things. One, if you happen to be moving into a home that you're going to rent, you have to be notified of certain things, right?
Most definitely. And that's something new that just kicked in a few days ago also. If you're a tenant moving into a residential property, the landlord has a duty now to notify you if a notice of default's been filed. And what that means is if you move into the property now, if your property is in foreclosure, you have to be told. And that prevents the problem of people in the past that have moved into a property, they're there for 2-3 weeks, and all of a sudden, boom, again, their home gets foreclosed on that they're renting.
Okay, now that was that an Assembly bill or was that a Senate bill? Because there's one of each, right? And
correct.
Both of them are dealing with similar things.
Correct.
What's the other one?
There's another bill in place right now that addresses some commercial properties, not particularly relevant, though, to the residential market.
Okay, but as far as moving into a home, you also have to be notified of 60 days.
Yeah,
right?
There's another, if you're in one of those homes and they get foreclosed on.
That's the other one.
Yes, they've changed, the government here has changed the law to make the state law harmonious with federal law, which means even if you're a month-to-month tenant, you still have to be given 90 days notice before you can be evicted post-foreclosure.
And that should have been on the books anyway.
Should have been on the books.
Yeah.
To a certain degree, it was in the sense that we had federal law that dictated that. But now, again, we've harmonized the state law with the federal law, which just gives another boost to tenants to prevent them from getting a surprise with a foreclosure and then a subsequent eviction.
Also, recently, there's been a huge settlement involving the banks.
Close. We're almost there.
Yeah.
2 days ago in the Wall Street Journal and the New York Times, we had reports coming out that the Office of the Comptroller of Currency, they're an inch away from settling with 14 major banks. The settlement would involve a payment of $10 billion. And the exciting thing is $6 billion of that is earmarked for distressed homeowners in the context of modifications and potentially principal reductions.
I mean, the government seems to be bending over backwards trying to help these people, but yet you deal with this every day.
Yes.
Where are we with foreclosures? What is the trend right now?
It's misleading because when you look at the papers and the reports, it shows a downward trend in foreclosures right now, which for most people that indicates or relates to a better real estate market.
Yeah.
But it's an artificial downward trend right now because of some of the programs that have kicked in or are kicking in, they're suppressing the foreclosure. So I would expect that once these programs get worked through a little bit, we're going to see an increase in foreclosures again, probably toward the end of the first quarter, beginning of the second quarter.
When do you know it's time? And you must deal with these people every day in your business, but I know of certain people that they just keep hanging on and keep hanging on and keep hanging on. When is it time to either foreclose, short sale?
Right.
When do you know it's that?
You know, it's such an emotional thing for most people that it's difficult to take a step back and look at it as really a business from a business perspective. Does this make sense for me to stay here? And unfortunately, some people, they'll drain their 401ks, they'll hold on to a home until the very last second, and at the end of the day, they're really in a bad spot. So there has to be a point where you make the decision, okay, this doesn't make sense, or it does make sense. But if it doesn't make sense, then you need to kick in and have a plan A, B, and C to help you get through that.
Donald Wolfe, thank you very much.
Thank you.